back, everyone. Council, are we ready to continue? We are, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Jatta, welcome back.
Thank you.
I hope you have rested well and have gathered your thoughts. Let me remind you again, Mr. Jatta, that we are here only to seek the truth about what has happened. And I think you would serve yourself well if you just stick to answering questions and speaking the truth instead of trying to be smart in your answers, because that could potentially land you in trouble where no trouble needs to come. That is just an advice. It's your choice to heed it or not to heed it. But I think it would be wise if you just stick to the truth. You understand? Okay. You have accepted that the report that was submitted to the Commission of Inquiry was a false report. Good. You agree that it was false in the sense that it does not indicate that there were civilian casualties, correct? Yes. You would also agree that it was false in the sense that it did not show that the military were involved in unlawful arrests, tortures, and detention of civilians, correct? Mm-hmm. Just indicate your answer by saying yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you. It was also false in the sense that it suggested that your ammunition was intact when lots of live rounds were fired on civilians.
Yes.
But also, the army failed in its responsibility to deal with some of its men who have committed offenses, correct?
Okay, yes.
In fact, two of the soldiers who were deployed at Birkamaba testified before the Commission of Inquiry. Mm-hmm. And the person who led the operation, Corporal Kamara, mm-hmm. testified here. Mm-hmm. And he indicated that in fact he told the commanding officer mm-hmm. that there were casualties. So the failure to include that in the report is also a fabrication.
Fabrication, clear.
So you accepted earlier on that this is an army cover-up mm-hmm. and intended to mislead the Commission of Inquiry.
So.
Now, with regards to the personnel, nothing happens to them absolutely, nothing whatsoever.
Up to that time, no.
The army suggested that something happens to them, mm-hmm. but Corporal Njai, or Lance Corporal Njai, who was in fact involved in the shooting of civilians, was not called even to testify before the Commission of Inquiry.
He was not called.
Didn't you find that odd?
Odd. Yes.
It was. So, in fact, that should lead to the conclusion that there was an attempt to ensure that the Commission did not get to the truth of what happened.
Yes, please.
I mean, considering that your men participated in shooting students at Westfield area, considering that your men accepted before this Commission of Inquiry that they killed civilians in Birkamaba, arrested and tortured them, making them to lie on the hot tarmac. And we all know how hot it could be in Birkamaba area. That is torture.
Yes.
What do you say to the families of the victims?
I wish to apologize to what happened to the relatives, that's the victim, and the relatives of the victims at Brikama-Ba.
How about Westfield?
And everywhere, Westfield, on the behalf of the
Army. And Janjambure?
All over.
In fact, do you know that somebody died soon after release from Janjambure prison?
It was not to my knowledge.
And in fact, there was another person who died out of complications soon after their detention at Janjambure. Mr. Chair, I want the Commission to take a look at this newspaper article, The Independent, dated 23rd to 25th June 2000, and it's the section I want is what killed Bamba Jobate, late Armitage student. I will move on in order to save time.
Okay.
Once the document comes back to you, Mr. Chair, we would ask to tender the document as part of the evidence. So, Mr. Jatta, the deaths arising out of April 10 and 11 are not in fact 15, but could be more.
Yes.
At least by my count, if you include this one and the other person who died out of Janjambure prison, there would be 17 people who died.
Okay.
And there may be more.
More, yes.
What do you say to those families?
I wish to say to that family that I'm very, very sorry. I do apologize for the wrong thing we've meted onto their families, friends, and relatives. It's very disheartening to see a neighbor or a human being in person, a person whom we are meant to protect, rather turn against him. This was one thing. I wish to apologize also to the entire armed forces, to say sorry to all those who are put into these problems. For the simple reason, we have an SOP, but unfortunately this came at a time when we are so unprepared. It was all rush. We walked out of panic, and you know, out of panic, the consequences is always disaster. I want my fellow soldiers to recognize that.
Mr. Jatta, were you all not consumed by your blind loyalty to the then head of state, to the extent that you would do anything?
It affected all of us in all form. Yes. In an situation where, imagine, a couple can even report a general.
Could you explain that?
A couple can report a general, they got to be fired. I cannot fire a couple. Oh, sorry, louder.
Yes. Draw the microphone closer to you.
Okay. I, myself, as the chief of staff, cannot even fire a sergeant major, much more a private soldier.
They said you should push the microphone a little backwards.
Okay. How about that?
Okay.
Or lift it up.
Yes. Okay. We need to hear you. You're Army Commander, Project. Speak up.
Okay, my command voice.
Yes.
For sure. You'll get that one.
Yes, go ahead.
We were entangled in a situation where we felt that maybe the way things were going were not right. If a couple's job could be given to a general, and a general's job be given to a couple, what do you expect? Chaos and confusion. We attempt to keep that army very regimented at the onset. And I think that was the agreement between me and Yaya Jammeh. I will be on your left side. Whatever goes wrong, I will tell you this is wrong. And my duty is to make him proud. Was to make him proud. But then such incidents coming doesn't tell well. In fact, they have created an environment where we started distancing ourselves from him. And I don't think in any administration, pardon me?
Who were you distancing yourselves from?
We were distancing ourselves from the president, and it should not be that order.
You were distancing or you were closing yourself?
We are distancing. You are on your own. But the beginning was very nice.
But Mr. Jatta.
Yes.
That is not how you became CDS for 10 years.
I mean for that matter. But I finally got fired.
Yes.
Fatigue. Physical and mental. Imagine
because you were fatigued physically and mental, so you were fired.
No, yes, for sure. It could
Are
happen.
You serious?
Yes. The beginning, where were the senior officers? I had only second lieutenants to start with. Few officers, Captain Jara, Captain Coker, 2 officers, and myself. The rest are subalterns, second lieutenant. I'm telling you, that's why we started with this army.
It must start from somewhere.
Yes, for sure. And somebody must take charge.
Yes. But what I am saying is, all of you were consumed by your blind loyalty to Jammeh.
For sure.
You would do anything. And
okay.
for April 10th and 11th, all of you were busy, involved in a big, massive cover-up.
For sure. I do accept. But here is a situation.
So let's finalize this issue of Bamba. Take a look at the document. Could it be sent to him?
Who is Bamba?
You surely would not know him because you are not at Janjambure.
All right.
But your officers who were deployed to Janjambure were responsible for his arrest, torture, and detention, as a result of which he died soon after he was released from Janjambure. Could you read the headlines?
Yes, I need not read this. I saw this.
You saw it before?
Alaji Yerojallo. I used to visit Alaji at the Independent. Alaji Yero. He alerted me on this.
You learned about this story?
Yes, from
okay. Could you stop it there? Mr. Chair, may we ask to put the document in the evidence? It should be Exhibit 008.
I saw that.
Request granted. Thank you.
So you knew about this story?
Yes, when I saw it, I started assuming that this thing is going to just keep on. This casualty will keep mounting.
So when did you learn about it? This thing happened in June. You learned about it at around that time, right? June?
Yes. And there were orders being written on newspapers. We used to pay attention to newspapers.
Do you realize that this death is not recorded in here?
Yes, because what I also observed during this inquiry here, people coming, giving their report. Initially it was a soldier, a civilian. Then later part it went to 2.
Don't understand?
Initially we thought it was 1 civilian that we shot. Later part it became 2. When we say when is this going to end, it could be 3, 4, 5.
And the reason for that, of course, Mr. Jatta, is that even within the army you did not do your own investigations when you should have.
Yes.
So that failure on the part of the army is in fact your own failure.
For sure. Operational failure.
Yes. And even in military law, Mr. Jatta, as a commander, you know that your subordinates have committed offenses, didn't you?
Yes, for sure.
And you did not do anything about it, correct?
Yes.
And that by itself is an offense.
I do know.
You know that.
That was why I keep them in Brikamaba, telling them that I am coming in passing.
But you never did.
Yes, but it was overcome by the inquiry.
But even with that, don't you think that within the army itself, the inquiry was a national activity, correct? But within the army itself, wasn't it necessary for you to conduct your own investigations in order to know how to deal with your soldiers?
For sure, that was there.
You did not investigate.
I know. I gave all the instructions to the commanding officer.
You
That's a
did
procedure.
not investigate.
We know. Yes.
The question is, did you or did you not investigate?
We did not investigate, but we know this what happened.
So you had killers among your men, but you did not even identify them as killers.
We were expecting the Commission of Inquiry to assist in that.
Well, the commission did not.
That's what I'm telling you. There's some default also on the side of the commission.
You knew, you said you were expecting that the Commission of Inquiry would do that, correct?
Yes.
But you knew when the report came out that the commission did not.
Yes.
Did you do anything about it?
I dare not go across the commission.
You dare not do anything about it?
From my point of understanding, the commission has conducted its investigation. I turn around and conduct my own investigations. In fact, even when it comes to punitive actions, they were not very clear with that.
Who was not very clear?
The commission.
What did you understand them to want?
We expect, like in the case of those who misappropriated the ammunition, they should have recommended, said, put them on court-martial. That's what we want. But if we said they need to be punished, how?
What is court-martial for?
A court-martial is a military trial within the military.
For what purpose?
For offenses.
For what purpose?
For any offense like...
for trial and punishment?
Yes. But if they had said that...
Just listen to yourself, Mr. Jatta. You said the commission just said they should be punished.
How?
They did not say they were to be court-martialed. But you knew very well, Mr. Jatta, that the whole purpose of a court-martial is for trial and punishment. The fact of the matter is the government slapped an indemnity law to prevent the prosecution of your men because they did the dirty job for the government. Isn't that the truth?
That's the truth. But the commission turned again.
So you sitting here telling us you were expecting that the commission should have said punish them by court-martial, that is just...
But
that is just not true. That was never your expectation because you knew these people will never be prosecuted.
Okay. But they turned around and said Njai should be demoted.
Who said that?
They did appear in the commission. Look at the commission properly. I think they said something like Njai's demotion.
Was he demoted?
He was demoted. I expect the commanding officer to do that.
Did you check whether he was demoted?
I sent a note to him. In the first place, please, let's just verify what was in the report there. What's in the report there?
Well, you are telling us that you sent a note asking for Njai to be demoted.
Just on the finding of the...
Is that true?
Yes, that would be on a situation report.
Is that true?
I did that.
Okay, let's look at the findings.
Okay.
And
I had something like that, very close. I can't remember by now, but I could still remember something like that. Some action was to be taken, and it was taken.
Yes. Let me look at the recommendations. These are the findings. It says Corporal Lamin Kamara and his men should be held responsible for the deaths and injuries through gunshots at Bir Kamaba. Lieutenants Samba Balde and Wasa Kamara also arrived after the main melee and confusion. It is our belief that those two army officers and their groups were responsible for torturing. We hold them responsible for inhumane and inhuman here, but inhumane and degrading treatment, which is unlawful and should not be tolerated. But there is a section in the report which says what should be done to them. I will take a look at that and we would revert to you. I think I have found it. Here it is. It says, we recommend that Corporal Lamin Kamara, Lance Corporal Njai, Private Lamin Kamara, Private Paul Mendy, and Private Alu Kambi be prosecuted for the deaths and injuries by victims suffered by victims at Birkamaba. So it does not say demote.
Let's see what the Lance Corporal was about that.
It says we recommend that Corporal Lamin Kamara, Lance Corporal Njai, Private Lamin Kamara, Private Paul Mendy, and Private Aliu Kambi of 2nd Battalion Farafenye be prosecuted for the deaths and injuries suffered by victims at Birkamaba. And you know what your government did?
Indemnity.
Exactly, precisely. So there was nowhere, no time in which you sent an order.
No, it was there. It was
asking
there.
for the demotion
it was
of
there.
Njai.
We acted.
Okay.
Outside the commission.
The second recommendation that affected your men is the two groups of soldiers from Basse and Kudang under the command of Lieutenant Samba Balde and Lieutenant Wasa Kamara respectively should also face disciplinary action for the inhumane treatment of citizens at Birkamaba. Even this one, the indemnity, deals with state actions. But even this one, this minor disciplinary action within the army, you did not do. True or false?
True.
You did nothing, absolutely.
In the first place, why punish one and leave the other? So when the indemnity came, we said, this is just clear everybody.
When you told the commission that you wrote a letter to the commanding officer asking for the demotion of Njai, that was
No, I did not write to the commission.
To the commanding officer?
Before the commission. 2, there was also misappropriation of ammunition.
Did you write to the commanding officer asking for the demotion of Njai?
One Njai.
Yes.
As I think, if my memory serves me, now it's almost 19 years, but something must have taken place. Because even the commanding officer himself suggested that the one who misappropriated those arms and ammunition must be handled.
But it is that same commanding officer who said that the ammunition was intact.
It was not intact.
So the thing is, Njai testified before the commission, and he said he was never called to be asked any question. He was never asked anything at all. The first time he ever talked about having been involved in the killing of the civilians was in that very chair you are sitting.
When he came here.
Yes. Does that surprise you?
That surprised me.
Well, why are you surprised when the whole army was involved in a cover-up?
Well, let's call it a cover-up, for sure.
So this so-called recommendation to have him demoted is also another lie before
I would have punished him twice. I said, I think, I've not read this document.
So you're just telling us what you think,
that's why I said,
you know.
I wish if I had read this, I would have adjusted myself.
And that is why I told you your approach is dangerous. Stick to the truth and not calibrate your answers on the basis of what you think we have.
Okay.
That is dangerous because it means you are prepared to tell a story to align with what we have instead of the truth.
Okay.
So if I had a document showing that you knew that 35 people died, you would probably say yes.
Okay.
So speak the truth. It is only the truth.
But the only worry, my only concern is, if I had read that document, that would have given me additional impetus to stand properly. I would have said, I didn't do anything.
Mr. JATTA, let's
just accept that. Is it a crime to show me the document in the first place?
No, I am showing you the document.
No, I mean at the investigation site.
Look, it was
because we discussed this with the investigator on that operation orders. They reminded me of what happened. I said no. My own deputy, Colonel Baji, who is the present National Security Advisor, wrote that on my behalf. It was like he said he not write. I said he wrote. And I was even telling them to say, ask him what was he doing over the period. He wrote. Now he wrote.
Let us not go to irrelevant
No,
issues.
some things are coming. If I had seen that earlier on, it would have been very good to me. Now, not until I saw this that I have countersigned it. So, Patton, I take the responsibility for whatever goes wrong in that document. I was the commander. They are working for me. So,
my point about that document is that what you have told us of what the facts were as at the time the document was being written, and what is contained in the document is false.
So for sure, I told you, I expressed to the investigators earlier on about my finding from the onset.
Okay, can you tell us, Mr. JATTA, why was it that your office acted in the way it did? Why did you generate false documents?
In the first place,
yes.
When it was mentioned that this is going to the Commission of Inquiry, hands down. To me, initially I thought maybe the Commission would not believe me. But I thought I can block that document and tell Keita, look, no, let's go over procedures. But it did not happen. And I sought the advice of the CJ. He said, we are going to investigate on our own. I said, we will be available when we need us, because we can give you some information on the arms, ammunition, and also the state of the personnel. He said yes. It never happened. I went to the commission, 30 minutes, I was told to go home. Go back, we'll call you. Up till today. We did not go into the nitty-gritty of matters when I was told to leave. Because there was a quarrel between... let me explain.
That is not helping us, Mr. JATTA.
Yes, I was telling you,
look,
if we
that
had
does
gone
not,
through the commission, maybe there would be some explanation.
Just hear me out. Whether there was an altercation or disagreement between Baindongo Fall and Justice Latte does not explain why you delivered a false document to the Commission of Inquiry.
I would have blocked that. I was told to submit it.
Okay, Mr. JATTA, who told you to submit it?
CJ.
He told you to submit a false document?
No, he did not read it. I said, I have a document here which I'm not very happy with. He said, look, we are going to conduct our, whatever the case may be, bring it. Now, going to put pressure on the officer to tell him that,
JATTA,
change your document. I will not do that.
Okay, we would move on. You have talked about this document,
okay. Yeah.
and you unwillingly submitted a false document. That's what you want us to believe.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. The commission would make its own findings on that.
Okay.
So what just on the issue of April 10th and 11th, you have agreed that the evidence shows that your men were deployed in the morning at Westfield. They participated in shootings. You have also agreed that you were ordered by the Vice President to deploy your men to go and quell the student demonstration. You indicate yes.
Yes.
Please don't indicate by shaking heads.
Okay.
Just answer to the proposition.
Right. Yeah.
You also have accepted that your men participated in arrest and torture of students.
Yes.
You accept that your men participated in the killings of people, civilians in Birkamaba area.
For sure.
Arrest and tortures in Janjambure and Basse.
Yes, please.
You have also accepted that you generated false documents? Answer yes or no.
Yes or no? Yes.
Sorry.
Confusion.
You have also accepted that the document that was submitted to the Commission of Inquiry reporting the activities of the Army was patently false.
Yes, please.
Good. So now you have also failed in your responsibilities as commander of the Army to deal with the men that participated in the events of April 11th at Birkamaba area.
Okay, yes.
You failed. You agree?
Yes, I failed.
Good. So now I would put aside 10 April and move on to another topic.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about the death of Usman Korosise. We don't have much time. What you have to say about that is a bit limited. Tell us what you know.
Let me see, I have the dates here. Let's assume that you feed me with the date. I don't want to open up the file so fast.
Just, you can
it
open whatever document you want.
On a particular day when we got to learn about an incident around Jambur area. And that this involved a Mercedes-Benz being issued to ministers. Then
how did you get that information?
I got it from the DGNI.
What was his name?
Sambaba, late Sambaba. He told me to say, let's go there. I said, okay, I'll follow. But he was there. I forgot to mention one name. Katimbaji was also there at the scene.
Okay, proceed. Please.
So we went to the scene. They arrived before me and waited for me. And when I came, he said, okay, now I'm going to give you an assignment. Go around and assess what happened to the vehicle and come. So I went around, starting from the road there. It was muddy in the rains, maybe early rains or so.
We would underline that it was muddy. There were pockets of water, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It looks as the vehicle went like that, down into a drain by a culvert. So the first thing I observed was, I believe in the rain, if the vehicle has, the front wheel has a turn, there must be some little form of splash.
Could you say that again? Some little form of?
If the vehicle was running at a particular speed, no matter what, if you have to bend at that joint, that the wheel must throw some muddy water, muddy sand mud. Plus,
splash, yeah,
plus,
of mud, yeah.
Yes, I looked at the plus, it didn't go long distance. But then I said, could it be at top speed or normal speed? I went down.
You have lost me. I cannot see the connection between the speed and the splash.
Yeah, maybe that one, yes.
No, but explain yourself better.
Yes, I observed that one. The splash was
not... Did you observe?
The splash was not far away from the wheels.
So you suggest, and what would that imply to you?
It implies that it could be he was driving at a very low speed, whatever the case may be.
So the vehicle would not have been speeding?
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Down the gully, by the culvert, on the side of the culvert, the impact. The first impact, we have some stains of paint. But where it stopped, we have dents on that side.
How big was the dent?
The dent was not that much, as compared to real accident.
So are you suggesting that this was not a real accident?
No, traffic accident. No.
Was it a real accident in your view, or was it not?
To me, to my point of view, it was not a real accident.
So you want to tell us
I expect the dents to be bigger than that.
Okay, proceed, please.
I went to the front of the vehicle, you know, the front mud guard. It was a little bit in. I expect that if driver has turned at speed, maybe the front bumper would have been deep inside, deeper. Then on top of the roof, it was some dents also. Then I said, I don't think a minister will hold on to a dented vehicle without repairing it. Whoever had this vehicle would drive this vehicle without observing these dents.
Okay. So from what you say,
Yes.
Do you think those dents could have been obtained through a vehicle having somersaulted?
No. If it had to somersault, then maybe we would have seen it skating.
So there was no somersault?
I don't know why it happened. Okay, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So it was like something is wrong because we saw the charred body in the vehicles, no limb, no legs. A little bit of the intestine came out. But I can't remember whether the head was there or not. But the limbs were not there. And the vehicle was set on fire. So that small accident...
Set on fire?
Yes,
that is what
down.
You say?
Yes, set on fire.
That sounds like a deliberate activity.
Yeah, so... Are you really sure that...
But how could you say that? How could you say the vehicle was set on fire?
It was set on fire, and this guy, the deceased, was inside. I believe if that was a heavy impact, it could have caused that. The impact itself, I felt maybe this was too light for this man to be unable to get out of the vehicle.
From everything that you have seen,
yes.
What was your conclusion about that so-called accident?
Almamo Mane was making noise that this was sabotage.
I am not asking you about what Almamo said.
I knew that it was also sabotage.
What kind of sabotage?
What was that man finding there at that time of the day, morning?
You tell me. You are here to answer questions.
Yeah, I need to go, yes. So when we investigated towards the end, we discovered that it was Corosilla through the operative. Corosis, okay. Corosilla. Okay. Through the interoperative. They called somebody on the ground to tell them that this was Corosis. So I took the phone. I had my kind of Germano. Those ones been tested earlier on with Gamtel. And I called Edward.
Edward who?
Then the acting chairman of the AFPRC. And I reported the situation to him. I said,
tell us what you said to him.
I said, well, we have found a vehicle here. Now it is confirmed that it belonged to Koro, a Mercedes-Benz. But then the color, you can't see the color.
What time of the day was this?
This was around between 8 or 9. It was in the morning, And
this was the day after the vehicle got missing, or Koro got missing?
I don't know when it went missing, but you know, this was information going around.
How soon after that did Jame travel out of the country?
He went to Cuba or where? He was not in the country.
Yes. But was it the day after or few days after or weeks after?
That night he traveled, daybreak, this happened.
So
because I was with Koro at the airport.
So it was the next day that you saw the vehicle?
Okay, you know, after the night, we call it that night, but it's the following morning.
Yes.
Yes. We were at Koro at the airport.
Would you say that your group was the first line of government officials to be there, to go to the scene?
No, I don't think so.
The question is, were you the first government officials to go and visit the scene officially?
I don't think so.
All right.
We were not the first group.
Okay. But you were there around 8 or 9?
Yes.
In the morning?
In the morning.
All right. So, or at this stage, do you know whether at this stage Mr. Edward Singate was informed about the existence of that Mercedes-Benz at Jambur?
He could be informed by other means, but I also felt as the chief of staff and the head of the military, I was with the DGNIA, it is our duty to inform him.
Precisely. But do you know whether the DGNIA had already informed him?
I don't know.
When you were there with the DGNIA, did he say anything about informing Mr. Singate?
No, he did not tell me.
Are you sure about that?
We were standing there when I made the call.
Did he suggest that you make the call?
No, I decided to make the call. I said, let's call the vice president, chairman.
What did he say?
He said, okay, go ahead.
Did he tell you that he had already called him?
He did not tell me.
Right. So as far as you knew at that time, Singate was not informed by the DG?
Could be he knew, but I have to inform him. But not the DG.
Listen to the question.
Okay.
The question is, when you told Mr. Sambaba that you are going to call Mr. Singate to inform him, what belief did you have? Did you believe that Singate was already informed by Sambaba, or did you believe that he was not informed by Sambaba?
No. I believed he was not informed. If he told me that he has informed the then vice chairperson, there was no need for me to call.
So when you were informing the vice chair, you believed that at least from that group, you were the one reporting to him for the first time what had happened?
For the first time, yes. I should
So tell us about the conversation.
I told him about what we found on the ground, as I had just reported to you.
Just tell us what you told him.
Yes. I told him that, well, we are at this site, but we have observed something here. We observed the splash of the mud.
BABOUCARR, I want you to tell us what you said to him.
Exactly.
Exactly, precisely.
Yes.
As far as you can recall.
Yes.
Okay, don't summarize things. Tell us what you told him.
Yes. I told him that we are at the site.
You see, you are still not answering the question.
We are at the site of the incident.
You cannot just call somebody, hello, Deputy Chair, we are at the site of the incident.
Compliments.
Yes, tell us what you told him.
The orderly received the phone.
Yes, which orderly?
Marong.
What was his first name?
I don't know. But he is an orderly or...
Okay, proceed.
Yes.
Would it be Lamin Marong?
He handed, it's an orderly to Edward.
Would it be Lamin Marong?
Sort of soldier.
Would it be somebody who was called King Kong?
Somewhere at the bottom we don't know
proceed,
names.
Please.
So he handed over the phone to Edward. After the compliments, good morning, sir. I informed him that we are at the site of this. There's an incident here that has happened.
Which site? Did you mention the place?
Jambur. Around Jambur. We said there's a vehicle here, presumably a Mercedes-Benz, which has been engulfed in an accident or so. I told him that the vehicle has been burnt, the driver has been charred, no limbs, nothing. There was some dents, the splash here was not much, and we assumed it could be some form of accident here. He said, what was the guy doing there? I said, do I know? He said, okay, let's wait until the president comes.
Listen carefully.
Yes.
Listen carefully.
Okay.
At this stage, did you tell him who you believed that person to be?
Yes. When we got the information, I said that we believe that this could be Koro. But initially, I told him that initially we don't know. But now it's confirmed that this is a minister.
I don't understand. I am lost. You are on the phone with him.
Yes.
You told him, you said initially you did not know.
I don't mean initially to him.
Pardon?
I said, here is an accident. But then we are trying to, the security are trying to, NIA are trying to find out who this person was. But before we left here, before we call you, it was confirmed that it was Koro.
Koro who?
Sise.
Did you say what Koro's position was?
Finance minister, then finance.
Did you tell him that?
I told him Koro. He said, yes, we know Koro as finance minister. Those pencils were issued to to ministers.
What did he say to you?
He said, okay, let's wait until the president comes.
That is exactly what he told you?
That's what I could remember. And the chairman comes.
Did he appear surprised?
No, I don't. Sorry, it could be, because I was not seeing him.
That's why I asked.
Maybe through his reaction on his...
Did he sound surprised by the information you gave him?
Yeah, initially he said, yeah, something like that.
And apart from yeah, what else did he say?
He said, okay, let's see. When the chairman comes, we'll see what we can do.
And that's all?
That's all.
Okay.
So, let me go ahead.
Go ahead.
In fact, it happened that on a night before, the president was traveling. Could it be in the morning or let's say before midnight? Or I think it was after midnight, I don't know. The president was traveling outside this country. I don't know what I've written. So we stood there. You know, he has been very nice to us. On that day, Saftu Job, the press officer at the State House, was by my side. Koro was in between us. Sorry, he was on the other side. Koro was in between us. And it was the day he informed me that I'm going to raise your maintenance vote from 400,000 to 1.5 million. And we joke over it. And he told me what's going to be my rank. I tell him I'll give you general. So he took my pickup. It was drizzling, and I said, okay, you put on it. And I stood without a headdress. But before then, I used to go to his office. The first thing he was telling me, let us revamp that Army Engineering Corps.
Mr. Jatta, we want to talk about things that are relevant to his death.
Okay, fine. So when this happened, we got this a little bit devastated. We left. Then I think communications went.
Did you sense any problem between Koro and members of the government at the time?
At that level, no. I didn't sense anything.
All you know regarding Koro's death is you went to the scene and this is what you found and you reported to...
From a layman's point of view.
Yes, from a military commander's point of view.
Okay, fine, that's right.
And then you reported your findings to the acting chairman.
Yes, of the AFPRC.
Of the AFPRC. And he said you should wait until Yaya Jammeh returned.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. So by that, you expected that the vehicle and the body and the remains would all be left there until Yaya Jammeh returned.
I don't know where the communication was got to, but finally the vehicle was removed, as I heard from the IG.
But from your conversation, that is what it implied, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So now let's leave the issue of Koro Sise.
Okay.
Now let's come to the issue of the junglers.
Yes.
The junglers were created whilst you were still CDS, correct?
5 years.
In fact, your brother was one of the first junglers, correct? And what's his name?
JATTA.
And he, in fact, has confirmed participated in several jungler activities. And during your time, he participated in the several killings by the junglers, correct?
Okay, yes.
While he was a jungler, he wasn't going to work like other soldiers, correct? And you were CDS. Did you do anything about it?
I didn't do anything about it, but I believe he was under command.
What command?
He belongs to a unit. That's the State Guard. If in the early morning muster parade, an officer is found not being present, I believe the unit should do something about that.
Who should do something about it?
The unit commander at the State House.
But if the unit commander does not, shouldn't the superior officers do something about it?
I have been asking for now and then. I do ask him, are you not at work today? He said no. But you know, so most cases when I was serious, I do go only on weekends home.
But BABOUCARR, you knew he was not going to work.
For sure.
You knew that that was wrong.
It was wrong.
You knew that for any other officer, that person would have been charged with AWOL.
Absolutely. And beyond that, desertion.
Exactly. And desertion is a very serious offense in the military.
Yes.
Yet you did not do anything about it.
I, for one. The unit should take that responsibility. And I was talking to Bajinka. There was a time I used to talk to
BABOUCARR. The unit commander failed to do something about it. And you knew that the unit commander did not do anything about it. Did you, as commander of the force, do anything about it?
All I can do is I said, I didn't find out. But at that point in time, if that was the problem, I really don't know. That was a problem. I really don't know.
But you are the army commander.
I am.
You had command and control responsibility over these forces.
And yes, I do know. But it's not my duty to go down to the bottom level and start questioning about private sources.
We know it was not your duty.
I can only question this commanding officer. Sorry, OC.
BABOUCARR.
Yes.
Military law is, command responsibility is very, very simple.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
You knew that this soldier of yours was not going to work, correct?
Yes.
You knew that these were disciplinary offenses in the army. You knew it amounted to awol or at most desertion.
Yes.
You knew these were offenses.
Okay.
You did not do anything about it.
Yes.
You knew that his superior officers, who happened to be your subordinates, did not do anything about it. The army kept a blind eye at what was happening, correct?
Yes.
It was a deliberate effort on your part not to say anything. You all decided to stay mum.
For sure.
And that was all part of your blind loyalty to Yaya Jammeh.
Yes.
You knew this was a hit squad doing Yaya Jammeh's job, but none of you would lift a finger and say anything about it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I have no further questions for Mr. Jatta.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my counsel, and thank you very much, Mr. Jatta, for coming to testify before the Commission.
Thank you.
Before I turn to the Commissioners, if they have any questions to ask you, just want to ascertain from you that your testimony yesterday and today, would it be fair to say the revelations that came out of that really have been accurately summarized by counsel, and what's your perspective on that one? That summary was lies, lies, and lies, and a massive cover-up by almost everybody who was involved on the investigation and handling of the April 2000 event. Would you agree with that? That's an accurate summary of all of you. Lies, lies, and a massive cover-up by everyone.
Yes, please. Yes, I do agree. I do agree.
Tragic. Thank you. Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor.
BABOUCARR.
Yes.
My question is, I remember Njai admitted firing 104 bullets. At least that one has been accounted for. But he also alleged that others also fired bullets, live bullets. And yes, the indicators by your statement in the commission, you said it is mentioned that all the 5 of them should face some form of punishment, meaning the other 4 are also culprits regarding the firing of live rounds.
Okay.
Have you been able to establish an inventory of the total rounds that were fired by the other 4 so that we can add up to and establish the total amount of live rounds that were fired at Brikamaba?
For now, by now, I may not be able to recall what action was taken, but we know that after every action, you need to counter-check what you have and what has been expended, and we expect that report to come. So when I saw in the report that he said everything was intact, that's not possible. I said no. So now,
could you kindly speak into the microphone?
So now, at this commission of inquiry, now it has proven that even more was expended than what was said. The accountability of ammunition was not perfectly done.
Okay. My second question is about Korosise.
Yes.
You told us you aren't sure whether the head was there or not.
Yes.
But you told us the limbs were in there.
They were not there.
About the limbs, were you only referring to the hands or even the legs?
Even the legs.
Were in there.
Were in there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Carr. You have the floor.
Thank you. My question is just a little clarification. In your testimony yesterday, you recounted that while you were moving around Africell, there was a student leader whose name named Musa An.
No, not a student leader. He is an employee of Central Bank.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because from witness testimonies, the name we had was Omar An and not Musa An. So
no, I know Musa An in person.
Oh, so it's different?
Yes, he's a brother to Pamodu An, Major An.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Imam Jallo, you have the floor, please.
Witness, you said that whoever gave the order to shoot must be above you and not below you. Can you list out for this commission the people who are above you?
Above me could be the minister, the vice president above me, the president is above me, but under me, I have the rest of the troops. My deputy was there, the present security advisors, my commanding officers were there. If they had given the suit, they have done it on their own accord, and they know that's a court-martial offense. Because we have reached a stage. If we have to go through the normal process, I should be fired. Likewise, how the DG was fired, how the IGP was fired. But along the line, they spared me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jatta. If you have any concluding remarks, can you proceed?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the floor. That's an Englishman says, if you want to see a sport, come under the spotlight. And this is what really happened. We were very worried well before the commission. And if I tell you that I was happy with even that report, I thought we did not contribute much to the last commission. So it has opened up a gap. And for these circumstances, it is we, the commander, who always fall victim when issues are around us were not made clear. May I also reiterate that during the Second Republic was marked by civil disobedience. Imagine a coup d'etat, overtaking a government, and a constitutionally recognized government was overthrown by the barrel of the gun. So we didn't expect things easy on a silver platter. With time, we get to realize that we are going for the worst. We do know, because events started popping up like that. Solution, we don't know. We were not even prepared for this coup. And even during the coup, so many processes were made only to discover that they couldn't be fulfilled. So problems all over. In the first place, what aggravated the whole thing was that rewarding soldiers by rank. We are all couples. We got up early morning, I'm a lieutenant, you are a couple. You still remain as a couple. How would you work? That esprit de corps was not there. So we are faced with a problem. 21 days over, when I was finally appointed, we saw this problem. But I advised them that you cannot reward a soldier by rank. If you want to do so, buy something and give it to him in appreciation. But then here's a situation, a coup. We are opening up ourselves to other coup d'etats. 4 months later, it struck. I insist that to kill those students was the wrong way. The military has its own way. Arrest them, take them to a court-martial. If they are found guilty, go to the Supreme Court. Because at our court-martial, we have a judge from the CJ's office, a civilian judge. And our national DPP will sit for the state. It will go back to the Supreme Court for analysis. If they confirm that, yes, they are guilty, the same court will tell us how we go to execute these people. Not by saying guilty and you go ahead. No, they will tell you whether you're going to inject them by lethal injection, shoot them by firing squad, or hang them. They will tell you. And once that is confirmed, a day before that, the Attorney General must read the verdict to the victim. There must be an imam, there must be a pastor to help them read. In the American system, they said, give them their last meal. Even if you have to execute them, their relatives will pick up their bodies at the mortuary. But what happened has triggered serious instability among ourselves. We know that coup d'etats have some characteristics. One, precipitatory retirements will always come. Banning of the constitution and having decrees, ruling by decrees, while nobody is being consulted. We know about suspicion. We know about a lot of killing. Even financial transactions are always neighbor's threat. We know about this. So this is the environment we found ourselves in. The rule of thumb is we are all answerable to one man. That's the president. But I used to tell people, the president is our president, you and me, I. He is our chief executive, you and I. But he is our commander-in-chief, not your commander-in-chief. So this is the situation. And the army is always married to the commander-in-chief. When I say married, answerable to only one person. The Minister of Defense is just a liaison officer, I would say. In operational matters, we face the commanders-in-chief ourselves. So over the period, we have seen instances that brought about even the growth of this so-called junglers and so on. This was in 2003. I left in 2004. The death of this journalist, how do you call it? Point newspaper journalist, Deda Hydra. By then we were not in the government. But we have decided to take one path with my former deputy, Samsidin Sar. We are going to stick to this man and advise him as much as we could, keep him on the right path. There were so many things we did for people, we don't want to mention it. You see, if you know your boss, you know how to handle him. But we know, Jammeh also has his own problem too. Maybe he's not even communicating it to people. And he thought aggression will solve the problem. Anytime you move aggressively towards your people, you're creating a lot of problems. I decided not to have any affairs with civilians. Why? In the Farafanya attack, the civilians arrested this boss and handed them over to me. So we operated as a team. In the Katong attack, Samsidin Sar, my deputy, went to Yundum barracks and he said, go on this July 22nd ceremony. I am taking over, but I'm going to sit in Yundum. And he came to say, informations were coming from the civilians. Now, if the civilians see us slaughtering these people, tomorrow would they defend us? They will not. We know all about psychological warfare. We were in North Carolina, and so on. We know what it really meant. But then at the bottom of the ladder, awareness, sensitization, or professionalism was not there. When you advise a head of state, he takes it or he said no. That's left to him. But the repercussion will always surface. And you are made to be accountable. Imagine 17 years they were telling me that you shot these students and you are telling them that, hey, fire, fire, fire. But today, it was all clear. Even if my men has to shoot, I take the responsibility, but I was not alone. April 10 has caused big divisions among we the security. That same morning, I was not talking to the DG for what he did. And I said, I was trying to cover up the IG. We've been working hands in glove with the police. We want to learn from the police. We even want them to learn from us. But when I send some officers to them from the police to come and learn the way the army operates, 3 days later they all quit except one man, Musa Mbub. Thank God when the incident in Farafanya happened, Musa was the commissioner at Kerewan. Come and see what he did for us. We were so pleased. But when it came to decorate him in appreciation, they said no. So all these things are never arranged in the, as we may expect. We face that. Our families were running into problem. I don't see my kids sometimes 21 days. I have to sit at home on a Sunday to see my kids. It's affected us. 10 years I have never gone on leave. Mr. Chairman, as of today, if there were to be another coup, count me out. 2, even we thought that our lives is going to improve, they didn't improve. Only a few people whose lives were improved. This is a lesson for us. A professional soldier doesn't got involved in coup d'etats. But when they coup d'etat, you see professional officers trying to stabilize the situation. And as we said, we did all that we can do to stabilize the situation. But our problem sometimes got to be the State House. Let me be honest with you. They will not go on course. When it comes to rotation, as the council said, I told them that you have to rotate these soldiers. In between, then I can rotate my brother and others. But why should I take my brother out and leave others there when we sense that there's problems? You see, if we maintain that rotation pattern, there wouldn't have been much problem. But how can one man stay in the State House for the rest of his career? That's a problem. And the CDS cannot do anything about it. And when the president mocked us, you say, Oga, Ranka Dedi, well done. You are fired, you will not know why you are fired. You will not know what you have done wrong. Is that not insecurity? So please live peacefully within the Gambia. This is a very small country. And if you think you can touch civilians, you are making the worst mistake. A man stood in front of my vehicle telling me that, I don't know what to do with him. I gave him $200. He accepted giving away. Was that not a wise thing? But if I have to follow my instincts, I'm going to beat that man. We have seen incidents when officers themselves shot civilians. I will call and say, this guy is dying. Come and see him. He'll take his last breath. The man will never do it again. We will rush him to the hospital and make sure that Jeff got him. But on the other hand, we are able to maintain a good PR with the civilians too. They are our authority. They are our civility. Despite all the people you see on our soldier up to here, you cannot pass the permanent secretary.
Mr. Jatta, you can start summarizing.
Yes, fine. This is a moment for me. Give me please chance. You see, that was why we said we have to involve the army in civil-military relationship. Look at the RVH. The children's ward, we did everything for them. Patching the road from Banjulindin to Kafuta, we did everything. I went to Libya and came with the tar. This was all based on what we were talking with Koro. But God said it will not happen. But we are also being stigmatized. Imagine from prehistory, the military, we've never had good names. Our reputations are so bad. But now, I am telling, pay attention to them. If you have a child in a family and disregard him, he would be a troublemaker. We thought that when the July 22nd comes, we are going to enjoy. And we did not enjoy. We had the worst. Mr. Chairman, on a final note, on behalf of the entire armed forces, I want to apologize to each and everyone. In fact, I have one of the patients here. If I would, counsel, please. You see, he has forgotten me. There's a guy here who is a victim. Please bring him. Let me say sorry on behalf of all that who are victims. Please, can you do that?
There are more victims out there waiting, so talk to them.
Please.
Talk to all of them.
Yes, I am very, very sorry. I'm very touched. But on the other hand, I want to say thank you very much, the Commission. If it were not you, I will live with this. I did not come to myself. They did not call me. I said that in the FAT network that I will appear in the Commission because I know that this Commission cannot avoid me. If the truth has to be exposed. When Damfa came to me, he talked to me so nice and he said, well, we had this, you say you will be prepared to come to the Commission. I said, I'm very willing. But if you think that this Commission is a joke, because you are never affected, you are never in that ditch, shit like how I am today, sorry for that. But today, it's all coming out. At the end of the day, the soldiers are hearing all this. For the council, lead. You see, I wanted one thing, you do one thing for us. You see, if you handle a soldier well, at the end of the day, tell him that under this section you have caused this offense. I want them, you tell the mother what section those mother belongs to. That will really say, and they will keep in their pockets. Those in the barracks will know what's going on. And that will deter them from any other thing. Do you know what happened when this Farafanya attack came? I told Vincent JATTA, stand by, you are going to go. Hey, sir, you cannot make me get up this early morning. Next morning they said it's a coup. So we have our own problems too. Until Peter has to say, look, I am going to do it good or bad. I say, I trust you. And we stood by the people, involved the people, civilians. We play football in Farafenye. And now here's a situation where people who are talking, sometimes when the former vice president come, we cut out of things out of him, we had a good time. We give him a good card of honor at the terminal. And he calls by our names. The relationship now is all gone. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for putting me here today. I may be very serious what happened. But this is the moment I have to tell the whole world. I have to tell you, those armed forces, be careful. I have gone through one mistake. Don't let it be repeated. I should always say, never again. On the last note, I wish to thank you very much for giving me the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. JATTA, for those remarks and also for coming to testify before the Commission. We will take a break and come back at 2:30. Council, is that okay? Or what do you have different plans on that?
Maybe 2:05.
I beg your pardon, sorry?
2:05. Prayers should be 2 o'clock or a little before 2. So, because if we do not start that time, we may not be able to finish today. We probably would finish late.
We resume at
2:05.
2:05. Fine. If you take a break now, let's resume at 2:05. You can go pray and pray for everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Meeting is adjourned.